we have over here the Summers. And if you recall, we have this one right here, which is completely beat up. Look, the cords are showing through right there. But anyway, my goal was not just to get these things swapped out, but I'm also going to make an alignment change. And remember, based on that tire wear, my assumption is that I need to do a little bit more, a little bit less toe in on this side. So here we got the snows off the car, and this is front side passenger. And you can kind of see, like, say, right about here versus the back tire, right about there. A little bit more wear on this guy on this side, and this is where the regular tires have been wearing as well on this side. So it's not a tire problem, because the car's doing it to these tires as well. And of course, these guys being in the back, they're still in good shape. All right, there's a couple of things you got to do before you get going. First, this little nut right there, the jam nut, 19 millimeters. Okay. You may want to get one for this. I get the feeling that that one's 17. I don't know just yet. Might not need it. You're also going to need to probably spin this guy right here. Not sure what that one is just yet. A little loosener. It's been sitting like this for a long time. But one of the things that you do is, of course, towing is measured by looking how far apart your tires are. So you make a measurement from that side to this side. Then you make a measurement on the back side from this side to that side. But I don't have the equipment to do that, and you probably don't either. You're going to want to do this stuff kind of on paper. So believe it or not, I'm actually going to have to take some measurements. So what you want to do is, well, this is the pivot axis going up and down like this. And there's a lever arm between the pivot axis and the center of the little ball joint right there. So you need to know how far it is from here to here, and you need to know how far it is from the center of the axle out to the edge of the tire. And of course, this is the tire radius, and this is going to be this is going to be another little radius right there. So I know that if I change this in and out by a certain distance, it'll impact the tire by, it's going to be roughly double. So if I'm off by a 1/4 inch, over here 1/4 inch, I would need to change this by about 1/8 of an inch. And in order to know what 1/8 of an inch is, you have to know how many threads per inch are on that guy right there. So I've got to make a few measurements here. I'm going to write some things down. Sorry about the shaking there. Not the best camera in the world. Right, take measurement off of this, you take the measurement off of this, and you take a measurement off of the diameter of the tire. Where's my tire? Right there. And I'm going to get those, and then I'm going to go actually work it up. So we need to figure out how many turns that I need to turn that little tie rod in order to attempt to bring my tires back into proper alignment. So if you look at this thing, the specification for the car is 0.04 inches of toe in, and that means that the tires are towed in. Positive means they're towed in, negative means they're towed out. But there's a deviation of plus or minus 0.08 inches. Now what that means is that the 0.04 is how much the tires are out between the front and the back of the tire, which means the front of the tire is going to be out by 0.02 inches, and the deviation for the front of the tire is going to be 0.04 inches. So if I assume that my tire is right down here, and that this is perfect alignment right there, and then this is my deviation, 0.08, and let's assume then if I was out by the entire deviation, 0.04 plus the 0.08 gives me the 0.12, that this might be mild tire wear. I'm getting some pretty good tire wear, so I figure I'm out by about this much more. So this would be another one of the standard deviations that they allow to bring it out. Well, that gives me to 0.2. So I need to then take my 0.2 and I need to scale it back to however many threads that I need to turn. But I know that from the spindle out to the front of the tire is 11.5 inches. I know from the spindle back to the center of the tie rod is 4.5 inches. So that gives you this fraction over here. I know the x is to 4.5, is the 0.2 is to 11.5, and you resolve that right down in here. And it gives me 0.078 inches is this distance right here. And the 0.078 by the 21 inches threads per inch right there gives me 1.64 turns. I think I'm going to turn it a little bit more than that so that I can then back it off if I need to. But I would think minimally 1.64 turns is about how far I need to do it. So, like I said, I don't have the equipment. You probably don't have the equipment. You want to have some idea of how much to do it. I'm sorry, but you have to do a little bit of math. Alright, getting that nut loose wasn't the easiest thing to do. Stuck my breaker bar in there and then lifted it up against that wrench while using that adjustable wrench to hold the joint in place. You don't want to beat on the joint. It can damage the joint, so you do really want to hold that in place. And that all seemed to work, but anyway, it popped loose. So we can continue on. Put a little piece of duct tape on there and then drew an arrow on it so I could say I'm turning it that direction 2.5 times. Alright, I had to get the pipe wrench out. This little bar right here is round. It doesn't have anything to bite into with a regular wrench. So get the pipe wrench out on that guy, brace it up against here, good and tight, and put this one down on there, and then stick a breaker bar in here and crank it. And you don't, like I say, you don't want to put too much stress on the joint, so it's good to keep everything from pounding the joint while you're doing this. But I got it loose, got the 2.5 turns, and I'm ready to tighten the jam nut up. So upon further inspection, closer and whatnot, underneath all the dirt and stuff that's built up on here, there actually is a little bit of a shape to it. And anyway, it takes a 12mm. And I got it done without it, but it took, you could do a 12. So anyway, I got my, took my tape off, jam nuts run down. Everything else is looking good here. Let's get the wheel on and take it for test drive. Quick inventory of everything that it took. We of course have to get the tire and rim assembly loose, adjustable wrench, 12mm, 17mm, another 17-19 right there, and a pipe wrench. Not too many tools. Okay, so I drove into the driveway nice and straight, so my steering wheel used to sit slightly that direction. I've now pulled it this direction. So I needed to do, I should have done like a balance between this guy and that guy. That would straighten this out. This is just simply a balance of that tie rod versus this tie rod. That could easily be done. Like you take a turn and a half there and put a turn and a half here, and it'll straighten right up. But what really counts is how did it feel. It was going down the road easier straight ahead than it used to. I used to always have to like apply a little tiny bit of turn to it. Now I've got to apply even less. I still got to apply something, but it's like the opposite direction and it's less. So I think I've ever so slightly overdone what I needed to do. Maybe, yeah, I'll probably have to take about a half turn off of it and see how that feels. But, yeah, I think that's going to be closer to where I need to be. And hey, thanks for watching.